You guys, you guys are so funny. Yesterday I got a comment. I look like a 50-year-old Justin Bieber. 50? Really? 50 years old? A 50-year-old Justin Bieber. I get it. My hair is very long, but there's two things associated with that. First of all, I hate haircuts. I could not stand haircuts. The idea of sharp objects and blades coming at my... Does that not freak anybody else out? Like you're trusting somebody else to come at you with a scissors or a razor, and it's kind of scary. I have the worst luck with blades. First of all, if you guys remember, I wore a bandage on my pinky for like 8 months because I removed part of it just slicing a watermelon. Like I do not have good luck with it. So it is very, very scary. Secondly, I am trying desperately to lose a bet. I talked before in yesterday's video or 2 days ago. I don't know why I told you guys you should go out to your neighbors and do some mouth-to-mouth advertising. Mouth-to-mouth advertising is not a thing. That is not the thing that I was looking for. Word of what is mouth-to-mouth advertising? Like, how do you even? I wouldn't recommend it. Especially don't go up to strangers and do that. Like word of mouth advertising makes more sense. So if you want to help me reach my goal, once I get to 200,000 subscribers, we're like 80,000 away, so we could probably hit it by tomorrow. This is all everybody has to do. Word of mouth advertising is what we are actually looking for. There's like 10,000 people probably that'll watch this video. All you have to do is just tweet or Insta post. All you have to do is just go out there and just say, hey, everybody, subscribe to Fanny on YouTube. It'll be the best decision you've ever made. Consider this my mouth-to-mouth advertisement. And like some people will subscribe. As long as like 8 people each subscribe, that's 80,000 subscribers. Boom, we're there. Hair's cut. I'm scared, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, so anyways, we're going to stop rambling because we've wasted 2 minutes of your life talking about nonsense, and that's just me being me. But we're going to talk about Pokemon promo cards today because I find Pokemon promo cards to be very, very interesting. Huge shout out to Jason K, who said, hey, Fanny, why don't you ever talk about promo cards? He's much nicer than I am to myself. He said, hey, I think promo cards would be a cool thing to cover. So we're going to cover Pokemon promo cards, not really the price swings. We're going to look at the price swings. Very interesting promo cards that have released over the past year. Maybe even a couple years, but we're going to look at some interesting tidbits of information on all of these promo cards, and this is just for information. So this information is supposed to be utilized by you to make the best decision when it comes to spending your collection dollars. In no way, shape, or form am I saying you should go out and buy any of these. I'm not saying you should sell off any of these. I'm giving you some interesting information that at least I find interesting to help you make the best decision. Okay, stop talking, Fanny. Let's get into things. All right, we're going to start off with the big one. So this is Pikachu with gray felt hat. This caused a lot of stir. This was supposed to be readily available. This was supposed to be easily accessible. A lot of people were supposed to be able to get it. Now there are rumors that this is going to get reprinted, but I think a lot of that just has to do with some things that are going on over in the Netherlands involving the museum and things. I don't know if it's actually going to get reprinted. So don't put a lot of stock in those rumors. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. Pikachu with gray felt hat. Very expensive card, right? It was supposed to be basically just included with any order that you did at the pokemoncenter.com. A lot of products sold out on pokemoncenter.com. People didn't even get their Pikachu promos, or they came and they were bent in half. But this thing has started to come down a little bit, this promo card. You can see where it started. It started out at a low point of 96.62 and then skyrocketed overnight. The demand for this card was just absolutely insane. Now it has been coming down and coming down further and further. It's at 142.01 right now, which is still very expensive, but I think we can expect it to continue to come down a little bit more, especially if it does get reprinted, which, like I said, I don't know if it's going to. But what is very interesting about this card is if you look at the top of the screen, I put the pop numbers from PSA. There are 14,845 graded copies of this card. That is an insane amount. If you look at other promo cards, and we're going to look at other promo cards, 14,845. This is just by PSA. So these are just PSA population reports. 7,487 tens, 6,092 nines, totaling 14,845 cards. That is an absolute ton of Pikachu with gray felt hats that have already been graded. And if you look, this card hasn't even been out for that long. It came out in October, so we're only looking at 4 months. 4 months already, and you've got almost 15,000 graded cards. This has already climbed the charts as one of the most graded single cards cards that Pokemon has had printed. 14,845 is a lot. So that is a very interesting tidbit of information. You've already got 7,500 PSA 10s. Now, I'm not saying that that's a lot by any means, but it's a fair amount. Like, there's a lot of these that have already been sent off for grading. So keep that in mind when you're looking as far as purchasing power goes and things like that. If you want to buy maybe a near mint raw copy, maybe look and see what 10s are at, maybe look and see what 9s are at, because you never know. You might get to a situation where some of those graded prices might be lower. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for the raw prices to catch up to graded prices, especially if there's a sudden downturn in the market. So keep an eye on that as we move forward. The next one that I want to look at, and here's another interesting tidbit. This is the Metal Charizard from Celebration. So this was the Celebrations Ultra Premium Collection. Was very difficult for a lot of people to get their hands on, right? Like, it was very frustrating for a lot of people. And the price point of them got astronomical, to the point where right now a UPC from Celebrations is like $360, $370. It did topple over $400 at one point. It's come back down a little bit. Now, this is the Metal Charizard. There were two metal cards in that box. There was the Charizard and the Pikachu. A lot of the grading companies took these cards in at the beginning. However, they realized that the cards were not made perfectly. There were chips that happened all over the paint on the back. The metal cards did not grade properly. The slabs that they had designed ended up damaging some of the cards, and because of that, Beckett, PSA, CGC, a lot of them ceased grading when it came to these cards. And then in the middle of last year, right around April, May of last year, PSA, CGC, some of these companies started saying, hey, you know what? We kind of designed a technology that all of a sudden we're going to be able to start grading these cards again. And then you saw the Ultra Premium Collection start to spike a little bit. You saw, as you can see, in April of 2023, the price point on the Charizard start to spike a little bit as more and more people started grading these cards. You can see this jumped up to $156.12 card. That was its high point. But since then, it's really just been destroyed, and price has gone down and down and down. It hit 106.20 a few weeks ago. Now it's sitting at 108.68, so really close to that 1 year low. But one thing that's important to remember is that this card came out 2 years ago. 2 years ago, this card has been out. That gray felt hat Pikachu that we were just talking about came out 4 months ago. And if you look at the total amount graded, so I would assume we probably have a little bit more as far as total amount of time that these cards could be graded, because they did stop grading the Charizard for a while. But 5,802 copies that have been graded. Only 279 10s that are in existence. Now, again, this is just PSA numbers. But when you compare that to that Pikachu with gray felt hat that we were just talking about, you're looking at about 40% of the amount of cards graded are Charizard. Like, I mean, that's insane to me. Like, there's a lot more Pikachus that were graded than this Charizard metal card right now. Now, a lot of it could go with supply. Supply could be a lot lower, but it's very interesting to look at the fact that there's a lot less Charizards out there that have been graded. That just gives you an idea of how many of those Pikachu with gray felt hats have been graded. Here's some snips from eBay that kind of show you the last sold listings. I only wanted to use the ones that actually had bids. I didn't want to use any of the buy it now, so that way you could get an accurate depiction of the price. Now, obviously, yeah, Fanny, these numbers can be manipulated a little bit, but if you look at the buy it now pricing, a lot of them are or best offers accepted, somewhere around the $2,000, $2,200 mark. You can buy right now a metal Charizard for a raw one for $110, $115. Maybe get a near mint one, maybe get a mint one. You can look at pictures and things like that, ask around, see what it is. Look at what they're selling for in PSA 10. It's absolutely insane, because it is such a hard grade in PSA 10. You're looking at $1,550. One sold on November 4th for $1,747. One sold on October 5th for $1,850. So a huge premium that gets put on this PSA 10, because there's less than 300 that have been graded as that gem mint PSA 10. Pretty insane. Here's the Charmander GameStop promo. So GameStop promos made a little bit of a splash over the past year. Same thing with Best Buy exclusives. These exclusive promos a little bit harder to get. Here's the Charmander right here that's got the 151, the Mew 151 artwork on it. You can see in October, when this kind of originally came out, $5.83 for a card. Not too bad for a promo card, but really started skyrocketing and has continued to rise over the past couple weeks. You can see in November, it kind of peaked and then leveled off for about a month. It hit that $25, $26 mark and then leveled off until about December 20th, and then started to climb again. Now it's sitting at $29.50, so that's the highest price point it's been. It's a really cool looking promo card. It got really cool artwork on it, has the GameStop stamp, but basically you're paying for that stamp, right? You're paying for that exclusivity, and it's jumped up to $29.50 currently. Here's the Pokemon Center exclusive Snorlax. It doesn't have the Pokemon Center. Oh yeah, it does. On the bottom over there, you can see that Pokemon Center right right there. You see that Pokemon Center stamp right there? So as soon as Scarlet and Violet released, Pokemon started printing these promo cards that they put inside every single Elite Trainer box. And the Pokemon Center exclusive ones have a stamp on them. So when you buy, let's say you buy a Paldean Fates Elite Trainer box from our store, from Coliseum Cards, you buy it from us, and it doesn't have a stamp on it. But you also buy one from the Pokemon Center, theirs will have a stamp on it. That's a big thing. A lot of people like to collect the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes because they're more exclusive, right? So usually what I say is maybe you want to buy two of them, one to open and one to keep sealed, because these stamped cards are also more exclusive, because the majority of those ETBs that are getting opened are not going to have those stamps on them. Because of that, there's kind of a premium price point that gets charged for these stamped cards. If you look at the normal Snorlax promo that comes in the 151 ETBs, those are only selling for a couple of dollars. But if you look at the ones that's got the Pokemon Center stamp on it, those are currently selling for $28.37. That's its going rate. It was down to $24.81, but it was as high as $42.21. So you also figure a lot of people like to keep their Pokemon Center ETBs sealed. Not a lot of people like to open them. So there's going to be less available out in the market, the ones that have these stamp promos. You can see only 348 that have been graded with PSA, only 108 that have gotten a PSA 10 so far. That's the only one, but I kind of wanted to highlight the stamp, because I think that's kind of interesting. Here's a very interesting Pikachu. I'm going to fast forward one slide quick so you can see what this is. So this is the Pikachu 101 that was released at Pokemon Leagues. This is a very exclusive card that's not too badly priced right now. TPCI has announced the new Pikachu promo SVP number 101 will be given out at participating Pokemon Leagues in November. So this already happened a couple of months ago. The card will be given out to TCG players at the discretion of each Pokemon League. The promo will be available on a limited first come, first serve basis, and then you can read through the rest of them. But the Pikachu card is illustrated by Jiro Sasumo, the winner of the 2020 Pokemon Illustration Contest. The artwork shows the reverse angle of his Charizard that won the contest, though it didn't originally reveal who Charizard was battling. Now we can see that it was battling Pikachu. So this came out in November, and he did drop down quite a bit, but look at how low it fell. It fell down to $7.57, and now over the past couple weeks, it has started climbing quite a bit. It's up to $13.03, so it's almost doubled in price. But if you look at the pop report on this one, granted this one's only a couple months old, and we don't know what supply looks like for this. However, we do know it is a limited card. Only 29 that have been graded so far. 12 of them in PSA 10, but a total of only 29 that have been graded. That is a very, very low pop card. Here's the Scarlet and Violet. I believe this is the Best Buy exclusive 151 promo for Bulbasaur. You can see same artwork, same Mew sign at the bottom, but it's got that Scarlet and Violet 151 stamp. It's done pretty well over the past couple of months. Fairly flat. It came out really high, $24.48. So a little bit different than what we saw from the Bulbasaur, from the Charmander, which started out strong, fell, and then started climbing quite a bit. Now this Bulbasaur has been very, very flat after its fall. Dropped down to $8.92 after starting out at about $24.48. Now it's been flat for the last month and a half, sitting at $9.92. But if you're mastering 151, definitely one to keep in mind. Here's the special delivery Charizard. Now we can talk all day about how crazy this one was when it originally came out, and how nutso it was, and how much supply was probably printed, right? And I want you to remember that slide that we looked at the beginning, the Pikachu with the gray felt hat, because I think that's going to be an important barometer for a lot of things as you kind of study the market and try and analyze trends and do price predictions. So if you look at this card in specific, this card has been out for over a year now. It's been out for a while. In January it was climbing, February it was climbing, hit April, hit that 1 year high of $53.24, and look what's happened since then. It kind of fell off, right? All the way down to November, where it hit that 1 year low of $32.10. Now it's gained about 10% of that back. It's sitting at $36.20, but the price point isn't really important. What I want to talk about is the amount of graded cards that you see through PSA. So you see 17,986 that have been graded. Keep that in mind, because we looked at Pikachu with the gray felt hat, which is $140, and it only has a couple thousand less graded than the special delivery Charizard. You have to assume, and I think it's a fair assumption, that within a couple of months, as more and more of those Pikachu gray felt hat gets returned to customers, that number is going to surpass the special delivery Charizard. Might give you an idea of how much supply is out there for that gray hat Pikachu, which makes you think, okay, is it really worth that $140 price? Now, I'm not saying it's going to fall down to $36.20. By no means will I say that. However, it could could continue to fall further and further down. If you're looking at a card that has been graded 18,000 times, was a very popular promo, but only selling for $36.20 currently. Also, another indicator right here, 11,211 that have been graded as a PSA 9, 3,346. So that could play a factor on a lot of people grading these cards as well. These cards were not QC'd extremely well, so a lot of people might not have even bothered sending these in, which also could explain the fact that these are so close as far as amount of graded cards that are available. So only 3,346 that are in a PSA 10, a very hard card to get a PSA 10. Here's the Umbreon. The graph is a little messed up. I don't know if I really trust this graph, but TCG Player has their hands full with this card because there are different variants of it. There's an Obsidian Flame stamped one, there's a GameStop stamped one, and then there's an EB Games stamped one. The EB Games one is the most expensive of the bunch. Obviously, less EB Games that are in existence than what you see from like a GameStop. You can see it's been selling for $89.99. It's been relatively flat because TCG Player kind of dropped the ball on this one, and they have basically all the different stamp promos under this listing. So anytime one sells that's like an Obsidian Flame stamped Umbreon, that price would normally drop. The market price would normally drop. However, since it's not an EB Games one, they've just kept it the same at $89.99. So a lot of them have sold at $70, $80, $90, somewhere around there. But then you have those other Obsidian Flames ones that are only selling for, you know, $15, $20, $30, somewhere around there. But if you look at the amount that have been graded so far, only 124 total now. 82 of them have been graded in PSA 10, but only 124 of them. It's been out for roughly the same time as what we saw with that Pikachu battle card that we looked at, and a little bit later than the gray felt hat Pikachu, but Umbreon EB Games, this is the most expensive one of the bunch. Again, there's a few of them that you would want to look at. Here's the Squirtle. This recently came in stock at the Pokemon Center. Now, if you ordered a 151 product at the beginning, you were able to get the Squirtle card that Pokemon would attach with your order. You can see this card sold out fairly quickly, jumped up in price. It was right around $40 at the beginning. $41.31 was its low point. It jumped up real quickly up to that $99.56 mark, then stayed relatively flat over that $80 mark, stayed around $85 for quite some time, only dropped about 10% over a month and a half, and then as some more became available, it dropped quite a bit. Now it dropped all the way down to about $50, and now it's started to climb back up a little bit. It's sitting at $68.07 currently and continuing to climb. So these are some very interesting promo cards that I just wanted to take a look at and kind of give you an indicator of what's happening in the market, just some interesting tidbits about each of these cards, so that way you can make the best decision when it comes to spending your collection dollars. I hope you enjoy the content. If you did, please do some mouth-to-mouth advertising out there. Run around. Don't do mouth. I don't even know why I talk sometimes. It's crazy. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, guys. Thank you so much for everything. Share the channel. Leave a like. Leave a comment. You know what to do. Love you guys. Thank you so much for everything. I'll talk to you soon. Until next time. Peace.